Supreme Court of Texas heard Whole Woman's Health versus Jackson, which is the federal case against the Heartbeat Act, right? And that was a couple of days ago. What happened there?
Yeah, so it's a portion of the federal case. It's the only last remaining sliver of the federal case that is still going through the court system. So what the Texas Supreme Court, there's a slight disagreement. It not a genuine disagreement, as we'll point out, but there's a slight disagreement as to whether in the Heartbeat Act, whether what we call state agencies, so the Texas Medical Board, the Texas Nursing Association, whether they have any enforcement power over violations of the Texas Heartbeat Act. So whether there can, if an abortionist performs an abortion in violation of the Heartbeat law, then could they be subject to some sort of licensing ramification? Same thing with nurses, other medical providers. And so the question that the Fifth Circuit did a thing that's called certifying. It means telling folks, telling the parties, this is actually a question that deals with state law and state interpretation. So we as the federal court, we're not in the best position to do that. We need your elected state judges to decide that. So we're going to kind of take off this piece of it and send this question over to the Texas Supreme Court that we need answered by your elected judges before we can finish dealing with your case. So that's what they did with these licensing officials. The state of Texas, the pro-life community, all of the legislators who passed this law, they intend, and it's pretty clear, in the Heartbeat Act that no government actor has any enforcement authority over the Heartbeat Act. So essentially the state of Texas came on to the oral arguments last week and said, hey, Texas Supreme Court, like the other side, the abortion plaintiffs, they are complaining that the government has this enforcement authority. They don't want the government to have the enforcement authority. We agree. We don't want to have anything to do with it.
Exactly.
Right. So the state of Texas was urging the Texas Supreme Court to, please say that they have no authority. An interpretation of this says we have no authority over enforcing the Heartbeat Act, and that would ostensibly give the abortion industry what they want. No criminal enforcement, no enforcement at the government level.
But they're still really mad.
No.
They're still mad.
Why are they
don't
still
want
mad?
that.
No, wait.
Right.
But the law, if I remember right, now I'm no legal expert lobbyist guy. That's people down the hall and you. The law as written says the state doesn't enforce this thing, correct?
Correct. So they're getting their argument from, the act references another provision of Texas code, okay, where those state agencies, historically through our abortion laws, the medical board, the nursing board, they have authority to deal with licensing procedures. So it's really like, okay, well, over here they still have authority, and that impacts the Texas Heartbeat Act. It's very, like I said, it's a sliver of an argument. It does not seem to hold any water. But what's crucial here is that the abortion industry admits they don't want to take the state's offer of agreeing that there's no enforcement activity here, because if they do, they lose their ability to contest the law as a whole at all.
And that's what they want. They're trying to kick out the Heartbeat law.
Right.
They're trying to get abortion back in Texas.
Right. They don't care if the Texas Medical Board or the nurses can have licensing trouble. They don't really care about that. It's their last little pigeonhole into. So it's just like if you say, "Hey, you stole something from me, Emily," and I say, "Well, Kim, I'll give it back to you," and you're like, "Well, no, I don't want it back." What are we doing?
I want to sue you. I don't want it back. I want to sue you so I can get it back. Well, I can get it back. No. I need to sue you so I can get it back.
Exactly.
Sounds like my toddlers when they.
You're not wrong.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But also, it just blows my mind because they're just that catch-22 situation that they're in of, they're claiming that they're being, oppressed by the state and we have to have relief from the state right now. And the state says, okay, well, I mean, you can have your relief. doesn't.
Exactly.
It's fine. But also the fact like how much of a failure this lawsuit is. Like, remember when they started this? They filed this lawsuit back in July, I think, of last year, July 2021. And they tried to
sue literally every American.
They just
in the
tried to
United
sue
States.
everybody, anybody
Yeah.
who like, you can be sued, you can be sued. Like anybody, let's just sue everybody. It'll be fine.
Some of us are named in some of those things. Yeah.
Some of
Big
us,
fun.
yep. Hashtag John Seago.
He's been
Anyways,
sued 14 times.
yeah,
Our
poor
guy.
coworker. Poor
Tune
guy.
in next week and you
Yeah,
can hear
you'll
all
know.
about it.
All
from
the
him.
tea.
Yes,
All the tea.
for sure. Anyways, so they started this lawsuit in July 2021 trying to sue like anybody that they possibly could. And the Supreme Court rejected that. This lawsuit had gone to the Supreme Court twice, the Supreme Court of the US, not just the Supreme Court of Texas, twice. And they said, no, you can't do that. Like they tried to sue this whole swath of individuals and they said, okay, no, we're going to let this lawsuit continue just with the state agencies. But that's the abortion industry's weakest argument right now because the state agencies have no authority to enforce this law.
Right, and the law wasn't even written to ask state agencies to try to enforce the law. The whole
correct.
Harvey law was written with the intent of empowering regular citizens like you and me to enforce the law and report a crime when we see or hear about one. And it's just ridiculous that they're asking for something that doesn't even exist.
Help, I'm
Okay.
being repressed.
So the Supreme Court of Texas has heard this,
Mhm.
and now we're waiting on an opinion.
Correct.
Best case scenario is, and worst case scenario.
So best case scenario is that the Texas Supreme Court rules that the state agencies have no enforcement authority under this. And so then the case will go, they'll answer that question. It'll be an easy decision at the Fifth Circuit level and the case will be dismissed. So that's best case scenario.
And worst?
Worst case scenario is that they do anything short of that. Because
Okay.
then the Fifth Circuit's going to have to kind of sort some of that out.
How are you feeling about the outcome after hearing the oral arguments last week?
I'm very confident.
Sweet.